Hi, my name is Mary Biesinger, and I'm excited to come today and talk to you about Vanguard Youth. A long time ago, about 8 years ago, when my daughter was first looking into her teenage years, they were looming, I was looking around for something that could fit my children. Now I have 11 children, and they're all very different, very independent. And I wanted a program that would cater to their individuality. I was lazy, quite frankly, and I didn't want to have to chase around all over the planet to try to get their education. But I knew that they needed to come together with other youth to inspire each other. There's something magical about that combination of coming together. Brigham Young put it this way. He said, much education can be gained in independent study. However, the joining together in a common cause can create powerful results for the individual as well as for the group that they synergize with. So Vanguard has vision, planning, and some structure, and a lot of opportunity to learn and grow together as they learn from and they serve each other. Brigham Young continued saying, surely one need not have a school to learn. We all know that, right? He continues, no, but many didn't, but they knew that made it harder and maybe a lot less likely. They wanted structure and synergism for their young scholars. They needed, in short, a place in which to assemble and intensify their education. This is what I wanted for my youth. I had seen in the past what happens when they came together and they learned from each other. I'm also really strong for different elements of, I want an agency, I want a connection, I want a context, and I thought, how can I create something that has enough structure to be a program, but still allow for this agency and individuality? And what I believe is, over the years, brainstorming with other people and looking at different books and researching it out and just going honestly with my gut of what I felt was good for my kids, we created Vanguard Youth. Now Vanguard Youth, I'd like to draw an image of the what I want to call the 5 pillars of Vanguard Youth. Before I get into that though, the first thing, okay, so I use the image of an eagle here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I use the image of an eagle when I'm talking about Vanguard Youth. Okay, there's a story told. At the edge of the woods, there was a small farm, there was a baby eagle, and it had fallen out of its nest. And the farmer found the eagle, and thinking it was just one of his own, he brought him to the chicken coop with his other chickens. Well, as time passed, the chicken coop, or the baby eagle grew up and learned to do what chickens do. He clucked, he strutted around the coop, pecking at the corn, and even tried, cawing in the morning or, clucking in the morning to welcome the day. Well, a neighbor came by to visit his friend, this chicken farmer, and he was so surprised to see this eagle strutting among the chickens, pecking at the ground and acting like a chicken. So the naturalist said, if I could take this eagle, I'm sure that I could help to help it realize it was really an eagle. But the farmer said, it's been raised as a chicken. It actually believes himself to be a chicken. Well, the neighbor knew that there was more to this noble bird than his behavior showed as a chicken. He was born to be an eagle, and he had the heart of an eagle, and nothing could change that. So the neighbor reached down and he lifted the eagle up onto the fence surrounding the chicken coop, and he said, Eagle, you are an eagle. Stretch your wings and fly. Well, the eagle only looked blankly at this naturalist and looked around and heard the other chickens clucking in the yard and flew down to join his friends the chickens. And the farmer just laughed and said, you don't know what you're talking about. The neighbor said, no, let me have another chance with this bird. And so he took the bird, the farmer, to the edge of the forest, and he carried them over and he set the bird down on the ground away at the edge of the forest. And he said, Eagle, you're an eagle, therefore you belong to the sky and not to the earth. Stretch your wings and fly. And so the large bird, blinked at the man and clucked and then jumped down and went over to the chicken coop. It could hear its friend squawking in the distance. Well, after a restless night, this friend came back to his friend, and he said, I need to take this eagle far away. You can't see the farm, you can't see the chicken coop, you need to be somewhere different. I'm going to take him to a high mountain. That way you can't see the farm, you can't see anything. So the man then took this eagle, lifted it on his outstretched arm, and pointed high into the sky. And he spoke to him, he said, Eagle, you are an eagle. You therefore belong to the sky and not to the earth. Stretch your wings and fly. And this time, the eagle stared skyward into that bright sun, straightened his large body, and stretched his massive wings. His wings moved, slowly at first, then surely and powerfully. And with a mighty screech of an eagle, he flew away. I believe our children are like this eagle, and they need certain things to help them to realize that they are not what everyone tells them they are. They are someone that God has put on this earth to make a difference. So I use the symbolism of this really poorly drawn eagle to help to teach you what I call here the 5 pillars. So I'm going to call them the 5 pillars, just so we can keep track of what we're talking about here. So this is the 5 pillars of the Vanguard Youth Method. The first and most important pillar is that each of us has a unique and God-given mission. I equate that with the head. That is what gets us going, is that knowledge in our head that we have a God-given mission. We each have a role to play on this earth, whether you believe in one God or creator, but there is something within us that reaches for something greater than what we see around us. And we each have a mission and a way we can change and shape the world if we follow that. The second pillar is that we need to create connections and context in our education. So I equate these with the wings. Okay, we need connection and context. You can't just have people who are walking around like walking internets with random information in their head. We need people who can take this information, put it into context, make connections with it, and then do something with it. I like using the wings for this because a key essential part in connections and context is also agency. That they have to have agency as they learn about these connections and context and apply it. So these are all part of these wings that give this bird or our youth the ability to fly. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the heart of it. The core and crust is what I like to call it, the core and crust principle. I'll go into further detail later about what the core and crust is. But the core and crust principle is basically the idea that we need people with solid, principle-based hearts. And then they also need skills in order to be able to use those talents and express themselves. So move forward. So they need a core and a crust. And so we'll talk again about that later and more that's all these different things later. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is, with this big eagle, now we have a heart that gives it passion, we have a God-given mission which gives it direction, which gives it a purpose and knows what it's supposed to be doing, we have connections and context, but we have these tail feathers that direct where it's going. I like to talk about the next pillar, I identify this next pillar as service-oriented leadership. Service-oriented leadership is so key in this educational method. I see lots of people that are going out and finding their missions and following their passions, and they're serving themselves. They are caught up in themselves and about me and how can I make profit and I can do this, me. And as I study leaders and people throughout the world, leadership is not about that. Leadership is about helping other people identify their greatness. Leadership is about taking people from where they were and taking them to somewhere better, whether it's through the arts, whether it's through music, whether it's through education, whether it's through politics. That's what leaders do. Leaders help other people. True leaders do. They should help other people. And I want service-oriented leaders. That's what I want to create in this environment. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the feet here. I like to equate something with this feet. With the feet, I like to call this, we need a respectful and inspiring peer environment. Okay, we need to have an environment that is healthy and embraces and welcomes the diversity and direction and levels of our different youth. It needs to be inspiring, and these give them the foundation to grasp on to really take off from somewhere. So all together, you can see these 5 pillars work together to create this vibrant, amazing eagle that will help it to soar to amazing educational heights. I'm so excited to talk to you more about Vanguard. Stay tuned for other videos where we're going to talk in more detail about all these things, and just join me on this journey. It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you so much.